After that, we had Matt Hardy come out. Well, he was already there, cut to the ring, and he cut this like it was an interesting promo. I didn't know where it was going, really. He said AEW listens to their fans. You said you want to see Matt be Matt. So that's why I'm trying to help Private Party. I see a lot of my brother and me in them. I also tried to help Sammy Guevara. And he sort of goes down the Sammy Guevara feud route, and Sammy Guevara eventually attacks him. They brawl. But the crux of this promo was the fans didn't like the broken Matt stuff, which, we said just it was jarring a bit and it wasn't really connecting. And he was kind of admitting that they've dropped it.
That's exactly it. It was a bit like when Brandy did that interview with Ryan Alvarez saying, we've dropped the Nightmare Collective because the fan response we were getting for it was negative and it wasn't working. So we're course correcting. That's what this Matt Hardy promo was. Is that when I came into AEW, I wanted to do the broken Matt Hardy multiverse with all of these characters because I thought that's what fans wanted. But what you've told me is you don't want that. You just want me to be Matt Hardy. And so that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be Matt Hardy. I'm going to listen to the audience.
If that is really what he said, because, next week he might come out with a totally different personality and say, that was a different Matt who said that. If what he's saying is true, and that's actually what they're doing, then bloody hell, that is such a difficult thing to admit to in front of everyone as well. Like, we got it wrong. And it's not just like we got it wrong. That is a gimmick that Matt Hardy created, had such success with to a limited audience, as always remember. But, and it was really close to his heart and really turned him around from this kind of joke, unfortunately, in the wrestling industry to this genius. Yeah. And he goes to WWE, he signs a deal with the devil. They don't give that gimmick sort of the sort of attention and prominence it warranted, really. And now it's passed him by. It's quite sad. It's quite tragic that he won't be able to do what he wants, really. But to be able to recognize that it wasn't working, because it wasn't terrible, but I wouldn't say it was. I was looking forward to these segments every week.
No, and I think you're right. Like, it must really suck for Matt because he signed with WWE at the height of the Broken Hardy stuff being like, and he was on top of the indie world with the Broken Hardy stuff, and everyone loved it. Signed with WWE, and they were like, not doing that. You're a nostalgia act. You're just going to be the Hardy Boys. And Matt wanted to do the broken stuff and wanted to do the broken stuff. Finally convinced WWE to allow him to do it. We'll do it a different version of it. You can trademark. You can do this, that, and the other. WWE gave it a half-assed attempt and basically allowed it to fail. And so Matt then spent the remainder of his WWE contract as a nostalgia act, frustrated. So he's gone to AEW. He can finally do all that creative stuff. And what the fans told him was, we want you to be a nostalgia act. That must really break your heart, man. I mean, I think I haven't seen it, but I think he said on Being the Elite or something that he is still going to do the characters on that show, but it's just going to be part of the Being the Elite world as opposed to being on Dynamite. And to be honest with you, like I kind of said it from the start, it didn't work. When he was teleporting all over the building, the segment with like when Jericho was feuding with Vanguard, it just wasn't really working. It didn't gel in AEW for whatever reason.
Well, I think, the reason's quite clear. It's not a promotion that logic can sustain that kind of zaniness. It's too reality focused. But yeah, mega props to Matt and AEW for course correcting so quickly. And not just like pushing ahead regardless of what was working and wasn't. Must have been a difficult conversation to have had with each other and themselves. But yeah, Sammy snuck up. And I thought this was actually the most into Matt I've been for a long time, actually. Sammy sneaks up behind him. Matt got in the "I knew you'd come" line, which was a nice reference. And they brawled. What a brawl they had. They go outside. Matt looks like he felt like a legit hardcore threatening, credible force here. towering over Sammy, but Sammy also was giving it back. Chucks this chair at Matt's face.
Bloody hell did he throw that chair at Matt's face?
Yeah, but you can work it. You get your hands up and you slap it down. Makes a really good sound.
I mean, like, he bled a gusher. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it
Oh,
felt
that was a
like
blade job, surely.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, the way that it was either such good selling, but it looked like Sammy just threw that so hard that it hit Hardy in the face.
It could be. Just I would imagine. I mean, he visibly got his hands up, so I don't know how that would work. Also, the camera then followed Sammy Guevara all the way up to the ramp, and he stayed up there for a bit. So the camera wasn't on Matt, where I presume he was blading. I don't know that for sure. It's just how it looked to me. And then Sammy does this, like, usually he gets more air on his flips, but this was just like he launched himself downwards. Still managed to fit in 3 spirals. But yeah.
So, I mean, I for me, if I was to be making predictions, this feels like it's building to a TLC match at All Out between Sammy and Matt. Or even like Sammy and a tag partner versus Matt and someone else. But yeah, like with the table and the chair and the doing the dive, it just felt like, yeah, maybe we're building to TLC.
You son of a bitch. Don't you get me excited. You know how much I like TLC matches. It's one of the few gimmicks that really still get me going.
Yeah. Apparently, Louis just messaged me, said it wasn't a blade job. Matt needed 13 stitches.
Oof. Wow, I hope he's not concussed. Maybe that's why Sammy stalled at the top. Then he was like, "Oh crap!"
That's what I figured, because like Matt was bleeding a bloody gusher. Like it really was deep.